So this is going to be 5 through 12 of the homework. So number 5, we are rewriting in radical form. So we are just going to rewrite with our root out in front of our radical. So that would be a 6, and then the power on our variable. So we would write it as r to the 5th. Now technically you could write it as the 6th root of r all to the 5th power, but you can see which one's more condensed. You can't see. Which one is more condensed? Probably this one. Okay, so technically they're both right, but I would prefer trying to write it as condensed as possible. Number 6, we would write 5n to the 4th root. Okay, root comes out in front, power of 7. Now technically we could go further with this. If it just says to write it in exponential or write it in radical form, I would just stop. But technically we could break this down and do 5 to the 7th n to the 7th, and we could do our long division even with a number. So we would have 5 to the 7th. How many times does 4 go into 7? We'd have 5 to the 1st. Leave a little bit of room for n inside. So 4 goes into 7 once with a remainder of 3, so that's going to be 5 cubed. And then n to the 7th is basically the same thing, so we can pull out an n and we'd have 3 left. Okay, a little bit more condensed, we could write it as 5n to the 4th root of 5n cubed. Okay, you could evaluate your 5 if you really wanted to, okay, but there's really no need to. We were just rewriting, so you could have stopped here. If you went and simplified, that's absolutely fine also. Okay. Number 7, a little bit easier one. We would have the 4th root. Okay, so 4 out in front of 3n. You don't have to put the parentheses because it's just the power of 1. And then the last one in that section, the square root of n, would just be your answer, n to the 1/2. Okay, so notice that there's no 2 out in there. Okay, you don't write the 2 out in front. Okay. All right, last group. So we did 9 in both classes, but I'll do it again. So number 9, we have 64 m to the 9th, all to the 5/3. Okay, so what I would suggest is rewriting it as a radical. So I'm going to do 64 m to the 9th, and I'm actually going to do the cubed root first, and then I'm going to do the power. Okay, the reason why is 64 is kind of a big number, so I'd rather get that down and then take the 5th power. So the cubed root of 64 is actually 4. Works out nicely. You could do it in your calculator. And then m to the 9th, if you're doing the cube, you do how many times does 3 go into 9, and it's a nice solid 3. And then you're taking to the 5th power. So you would take 4 to the 5th power, which is 1024, and then you have a power of a power, so you would multiply your exponents to get 15. So that is your answer. Okay. 10, a little bit easier. We have 9m squared all to the 1/2. Okay, so again, if you want to, you could write it as a radical. You could also distribute it and then make it radical. I'm going to rewrite it as a radical first. Okay, so we end up with the square root of 9m squared. So basically we just have the square root of 9, which is 3, and the square root of m squared, which is just m. Okay. All right, I'm going to erase and do 11 and 12. So 11, we have another not so bad one, x to the 4th, all to the 3/4. So a couple options here. We could rewrite it as x to the 4th to the 4th root, all to the power of 3. The reason why I would do it that way is the 4th and the 4th root in the cube, or the 4th power. Sorry, cancel out, leaving us with just x to the 3rd, and we're done. Okay, the other option is it's a power of a power, so we could multiply 4 times 3/4, put 4 over 1. If you reduce, 4 and 4 reduce, and we just end up with 3, so we just end up with x cubed. Okay, otherwise you'd have to multiply 4 times 3 is 12, and then divide by 4. Okay, so your answer for number 11 is x cubed. And then the last one, number 12, we have 36r squared to the 3 halves. So again, we can either multiply through and reduce, or we can just rewrite it as a radical. So we would have the square root of 36r squared, and then raised to the 3rd power. Again, 36 is kind of a big number. I don't really want to take it to the 3rd power. So I'm just going to square root it first. The square root of 36 is 6. Square root of r squared is r. And then we're raising that to the 3rd power. So we would do 6 cubed, which is 216, r cubed, which is just r cubed. So the other way to do that, again, would be distribute. So we'd have 36 to the 3 halves, r squared times 3 halves. The 2's are going to cancel, leaving us with, so again, 36, let's see, I don't know if I can fit it, 36 to the 3 halves, r squared times 3 halves. Okay, so the 2's are going to cancel, leaving us with 36 to the 3 halves. So we're going to have to rewrite that. And then r cubed, so 36 to the 3 halves, we'd have the square root of 36 to the 3rd power. So again, the square root of 36 is 6. 6 cubed gives you that 216. And then we can bring down our r cubed. So again, neither way is like that much easier. Just depends on which way you're more comfortable. All right, that's it.